Winnie the Pooh once said, "We didn't realize we were making memories, we just knew that we were having fun." And as children, that is the number one thing that we know how to do, is have fun. Whether it be playing with monster trucks, or Barbies, playing by ourselves, or playing with friends. That is the number one thing that we learn as children when we come into this world. From our childhood to our teenage years to adult years, we have friendships littered all throughout our lives. And the number one thing that we do is give gifts to our friends to show our gratitude and to show our appreciation for all that they do for us. And the number one thing that a lot of children and a lot of other people, regardless of age, do is give them a friendship bracelet. And friendship bracelets can be made out of multiple things, whether it be from beads, paracord, or very complex designs, or very simplistic designs. And today we are going to be learning how to make embroidery bracelets, which is a very unique type of bracelet because of the fact that it is made up of strings that are known as embroidery thread. It's slightly thinner than yarn, but it has the same texture. And so that's what makes it a little bit different, is the fact that it's a little bit thinner. So the very first thing that you're going to need to know how to do in order to start learning how to make these bracelets is to get familiar with your items. You have two types of items, that is your main items and your optional items. Your main items are going to be embroidery thread because that is what makes up your bracelet. Your optional items are going to be two things, these plastic cards and sewing needles. I recommend the big ones or the ones that have the little balls on the end so that you can see them easier and you don't accidentally hurt yourself or lose them. These cards make the process easier because you take the thread and you wrap it around these little cards on the skinny sides so that you don't lose them or get them tangled up. The second thing that you're going to do that makes the process super easy is to learn the language, basically, to learn how to read the patterns. And you're going to do that by learning how to read the symbols. And so you're going to have your forward knot, your forward backward knot, your backward knot, and your backward forward knot. It seems kind of complicated now, but what these symbols right here are used for is to read patterns. They look a little complicated now, but they're not that complicated, I promise. And the fun part about it is that once you learn how to read it, just like any language, you can learn how to write it and speak it. And so once you take a pattern that you learned already, you can recreate it and make a pattern that is customized to you, or your friends or your family, with whatever colors, patterns, or anything else that you want. Your third and final step is going to be to experiment around and get your experience. Your first bracelet is not going to be the prettiest thing in the world, and that is okay, because as human beings, you have to learn how to walk before you learn how to run. So I'm going to teach you how to basically start your bracelet. So you're going to take your threads. I'm only using 2, you can use more than 2. Just for showing purposes. You're going to take it and you're going to make a knot. It's not anything special, just a very simple, basic knot. And I recommend having a clipboard on hand or something heavy like books or windowsill, and you just slide it under. The reason why is because you're going to be using a lot of force whenever you make it to keep the knots tight so it's not loose, and you're going to need something that can hold the weight of you pulling down. So I'm going to show you the 4 types of knots. So basically, what you're going to do is you're going to separate your threads however you want. And to do a forward knot, you make a 4 with the shape of your threads. So it looks like this. It's a 4. And you go under, and then that's your first knot. Go all the way up to the top, and then you do it again. These knots come in sets of double, and that's why you hear it as forward, forward, backward, 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 forward. You hear them in 2 words because it's 2 steps. To do a backward knot, you're going to do a backwards 4, like this. And then you're going to go under and then slide it up, just the same as you did before, just in the opposite direction. And then when you do a backward forward or a forward backward, you do a combination of the 2. You do your first one, and then you slide up, and then you alternate and do the other one. And that's just how you do it. It's very, very simple. And this is important because not only do children know how to keep things simplistic, But I think it's a tip that adults can use in their daily lives too. That you don't have to spend $1,000,000 to make somebody happy or make their day. It just takes a few minutes and maybe even less than $10, maybe less than 5. And it's not that hard. I think in our everyday busy lives, we forget how to appreciate the small things. And I think that as adults, that is something that we can learn from our children. And to just keep everything simple, that it takes something very small to make somebody's whole day and to just make a smile on their face. Because it's not materialistic things that matter at the end of the day. It is our friendship and the effort that we put in to make our gifts.